staff level agreement.
Ashanti Asiedu II set to resume mediation of the Bawku conflict from April 28.
Meanwhile, tension is rising in the Ashanti region as supporters of some aspiring MMDCEs threaten mayhem if their preferred candidates are not selected.
Coming up in business news, financial economists highlight a need for fiscal discipline after Ghana's International Monetary Fund staff level agreements.
And on the international front, Hamas said to have rejected an Israeli proposal for a 6-week ceasefire in Gaza. We are live around the world on 3news.com. That's our website. We're also streaming on Facebook, and we'll be happy to hear from you on the many stories we have for you tonight.
The news now in detail, and the Ministry of Finance says it has reached a staff-level agreement with the International Monetary Fund after a 4th review of Ghana's performance on the fund. According to the Finance Minister, although several structural benchmarks and quantitative targets under the program were breached at the time the NDC assumed office, government has managed to reverse the situation. There's more in this report.
Ghana's 3-year IMF program, which commenced in 2023, has made steady progress despite some critical challenges in 2024. After a 2-week review by the IMF team and their Ghanaian counterparts, it emerged that government has implemented a number of spending control mechanisms which have fast-tracked the implementation of certain structural reforms ahead of schedule while embarking on additional reforms. The Finance Minister noted that government has passed an amendment to the Procurement Act to ensure that all central government procurement contracts go through the Minister for Finance under the authority or Central Tender Review Committee.
With pragmatic and bold measures have been put in place to address the large payable build-up as at end 2024, which resulted in large primary deficit compared to the program modest surplus. These measures aimed at strengthening our spending commitment control system, eliminate the accumulation of payables, enhance budget credibility, and promote fiscal and debt sustainability. These measures include the following. 1. We have commissioned the Auditor General together with 2 international audit firms to audit the payable and commitment to validate their legitimacy and value and provide recommendations for collective actions.
On ECG and revenue collection, the Finance Minister noted that the implementation of the recently announced quarterly tariff adjustments by PURC was executed to satisfy the structural benchmark conditionality under the program. On his part, the IMF Mission Chief, Stefan Rode, commended government for their quick recovery to get back on track with the IMF program objectives.
First, the external position has continued to improve with rapid accumulation of international reserves by the Bank of Ghana, and indeed the accumulation of reserves has clearly outperformed the program objectives. Economic growth in 2024 was also stronger than expected. However, overall performance with respect to the program's targets and objectives deteriorated significantly in 2024, reflecting policy slippages in the run-up to the general elections. Both the government's primary balance and inflation missed the targets. Several structural reforms have also been delayed, and some of the milestones in this area were missed. Fortunately, since then, the authorities have adopted bold corrective measures in several areas to ensure observance of the program objectives for 2025 and beyond.
Right, so let's stay on this subject a while longer and find out what exactly this means for Ghana. We are joined by Dr. Edu Owusu-Sarkodie, who is an economist, also with the University of Ghana. Doc, a very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Martin, and thanks for having me. Good evening to Portia.
Right, to start with, I mean, clearly it looks as though, per what the two gentlemen said, the finance minister and the IMF mission chief, we are making steady, significant progress. What, in your estimation, would be accounting for these successes that we are chalking based on their review?
Well, I think that the first thing to mention is the commitment by the government. The previous government, MPP government, and the current NDC government, they have all committed to ensuring that they stay on course. We saw how the fiscal consolidation was front-loaded in the year 2023 because of the possible slippages in the 2024. Also, the 2025 budget, we've seen that the new NDC government is also front-loading fiscal deficit, fiscal consolidation, the cut expenditure, and others. So the commitment by the previous administration and the current administration must be commended. We also see the commitment from the IMF level, because Ghana, many countries or some countries went to apply to the IMF program before Ghana, but Ghana got ours before them. It shows how committed IMF is to the recovery of the Ghanaian economy. So it is good news for all of us, and I've always made a point that we will not reap the full benefits of the program if we have not completed it. We need the full funding of the 3 billion. So the only way out is to stay committed to the program so that we can get the full funding and get the full benefits of the program so that the economy can expand 2026 going forward.
From deducing from what you said, do we have a leeway around the conditions of the program? Because clearly we are stuck to it and need to be, prudent in ensuring that the program actually runs the full course. But it looks as though in 2024 there were some slippages, like you indicated. The finance minister also touched on it. How do we ensure that this does not recur? And again, to the earlier question, we don't have any other option than to stick to the program, do we?
No, not at all. We don't have any option. In fact, we didn't have any option than to apply for the IMF program in 2023. There was no other option. And so we have to stay focused on it. With regards to the 2024 election slippages, it was anticipated. That is why the previous government made sure that they had this front-loaded fiscal consolidation in the year 2023. They cut expenditure. In fact, in the year 2024, expenditure was reduced, not in terms of its nominal figure, but in terms of as a percentage of GDP, it was reduced by 6 percentage points in the year 2024. So they made room in the year 23 for the possible slippages in 2024 election. And then after the election, the new NDC government has also committed to what they call the front-loaded fiscal consolidation, making sure that they tighten things. The reason the government has cut expenditure by 10 billion. The Monetary Policy Committee also raised the policy rate by 100 basis points. So there are all indications of the commitment of the government that in spite of the challenges that we faced in the year 2024, the commitment before, the commitment after by the previous administration and the current administration have all indicated that Ghana really wants to continue with this tight fiscal policy and the tight monetary policies. And we all know that we will not get the full benefit if we don't stay committed and stay focused on this. And we expect the economy to expand and really transform, build on the stability and transform 2026 going forward. But right now, I think that everything is on course. I really like the things outlined in the budget, in the 2025 budget by this current government to address the fiscal challenges. And the minister indicated that we're going to address the fiscal challenges from the expenditure side. So they call it the expenditure-led fiscal adjustment. Then in the subsequent years, they will do revenue-led fiscal adjustments. These are good indications.
Okay. Finally and briefly, I mean, the finance minister indicated that we are also needing to tighten our belts even further and made reference to the current ECG revenue collection. We know that it is part of the conditionalities. How do you foresee us spending the next tranche? And at what point can we start loosening our belt as citizens who are under an IMF program?
Yeah, the conditions are a bitter pill to swallow, isn't it? The IMF said that Ghanaians were not paying the economic, price or economic tariff for the utilities that we were enjoying. Therefore, it had to be adjusted quarterly so that we pay the economic price. We have to swallow this bitter pill. But the good news here is that in spite of these challenges, I think one of the bitter pill that we have swallowed over the period is also the 0% financing from the central bank. And so all these things are to help us tighten our belt and get the full benefit of the program. I would say that the poor and the vulnerable have also been protected. I think in the IMF document, they have praised the Ghanaian government, both the previous one and the current one, for protecting the poor and the vulnerable in society. You look at all the social intervention programs, government has increased their expenditure commitment to those programs. Right. And so going forward, we expect the full recovery of our economy and the economic transformation 2026 going. That is where we expect a full recovery and a very good economic transformation after the stability.
I want to say amen to that. Hopefully we can start breathing freely in 2026 and beyond. Thank you very much, Dr. Edu Owusu-Sarkodie, an economist and also with the University of Ghana. Meanwhile, the New Patriotic Party minority in Parliament says that the recent staff-level agreement between Ghana and the IMF confirms the effectiveness of the previous NPP government's economic policies. They indicated that in a release which was issued earlier today, that the IMF statement confirms that growth was more robust than anticipated in 2024. It said Ghana's economy grew by 5.7% in 2024, surpassing expectations, and that the country's international reserves increased significantly. Though the IMF also expressed concern about the fiscal performance, including missed inflation targets and accumulated unpaid bills, the NPP minority contends that these fiscal issues are as a result of actions by the current government. All right, so for those who probably may not be following this IMF conversation, let's take you back to when it all began in 2023, when we actually had to apply after denying we needed an IMF help. We finally applied. The first tranche we got was $600 million on the 17th of May 2023, and then also early January 2024, which was the election year, we received a second tranche on the 23rd of January, which was $600 million. The third tranche came on the 2nd of July 2024, where we got some $360 million. And all of these were after reviews by the IMF team, and then they were giving Ghana the all clear for the next tranche. The fourth tranche, which was received on the 5th of December, that's the election month actually, was $360 million. And as of close of today, the 15th of April, Ghana fortunately has reached a staff-level agreement with the IMF, awaiting board approval, which means that if the board does approve, we are likely to get the next tranche, which will be $370 million. And the total we are asking for from the IMF is $2.3 billion. As we speak, we've received $1.9 billion. So that's just by way of the numbers regarding the IMF program.
Let's now continue with the rest of our stories. And the Asante Otumfuo Asiedu II is set to resume mediation of the Bawku conflict as agreed with the feuding factions from April 28 to May 1, 2025 at the Menchia Palace in Kumasi. In a brief statement released some few hours ago, the Asante requested all stakeholders involved in the collective efforts to bring about lasting peace in Bawku to cooperate with Menchia as efforts are intensified to resolve the conflict, which has resulted in many casualties and destruction of properties and livelihoods. Let's speak to Austin Game. He is a conflict resolution and labor consultant. Thank you so much for your time. What potential impact do you think the Asante mediation efforts could have on bringing lasting peace to the Bawku conflict?
Thank you for the invitation. And I want to say from the word go that I believe that once the mediation process is fully applied, as expected of all of us, definitely the impact will be instant, not in the future. Instant in the sense that the parties to the conflict will be present and will agree to whatever the arrangements would be. And so it's always, mediation is always instant. And I want to believe that that will be the outcome.
What strategies should be employed to mediate between the feuding factions to ensure constructive dialogue and, most importantly, mutually beneficial outcome?
That to me is the issue. And I want to believe that the panel of mediators to be led by the Otumfuo are ready for the purpose. You know, when you go to the law court, we have what they call CI 47, the process in the courts. If you go to Parliament, we have standing orders that assist them and guides the Speaker and the leadership in conducting affairs in the House. Mediation is older than all these things. Mediation was used by God himself, you know, and so today we must, and it's a must that the panel of mediators will have to have in place ground rules, if you like, call it cardinal rules, that will govern the procedure of the mediation. And that means the two parties plus the mediators will agree as to their role. The role of the mediators will be spelled out clearly as impartial people, not having interest in the matter. So from the beginning, any of them that may have anything that seems like an interest will have to stand down, will not participate in the process. Otherwise, if they are ready to go, then they are totally considered as impartial people. They are going to use specific mediation language. We don't just use any language at all. We don't use the court type of language. We use the parliamentary argument and debate type of language. We use a special protocol in mediation processes. And so I want to believe that that to be on board. And then key also is the authority of the parties coming to the mediation. This is more than strategy. The two specific parties that are coming to put their case before the panel of mediators, if you heard me well, I'm no longer using the word Otumfuo's committee. No, it's not about Otumfuo's committee. It's a panel of mediators who are coming together as impartial people with cardinal rules to guide the conversation, not argument, not debate. And they will have to agree as to those who will participate in the process.
Right.
None of the people coming would now say we do not have authority. If you don't have authority, don't come to the mediation table.
All right, Mr. Gabor,
if you are coming there, you must come before.
Briefly, before you go, in resolving this conflict which has been politicized, do you think politicians should step aside and let mediation experts take the lead, or should they work in collaboration with mediators to find a solution?
The truth is that the so-called political beneficiaries has no space in this matter. Now, anybody in a political cassock that think that they have a part in the process will have to apply to the parties coming to the mediation and come and participate in it, because they will have no say whatsoever. That's why it is now a state-sponsored and not government-sponsored. Once they have a proper ground rules in place, using proper protocol language of mediation, and they have authority to participate in the process, I strongly believe they are ready to go.
All right.
Because they also have to engage the services of translators to translate from English to either Mampusi language or Kusasi language, whichever way it is.
Right.
They have to engage somebody.
All right, Mr. Kenneth, thank you so much for your time. Unfortunately, we do not have enough time, but we appreciate you spending time with us on News 360. Mr. Austin Game is a conflict resolution and labor consultant.
In more news tonight, small businesses in Ghana are decrying the proposed utility tariff increments. They fear that the increased costs will negatively impact their operations and the ability to compete on the market. Here's a report by Judith Brown.
With tariffs set to kick in next month, many small businesses are preparing for the massive impact. In this window, water is seeing a 4.02% increment and electricity a 14.7% increment. Essentially, if you spend an average amount of 1,000 cedis on electricity every week, by May 2025, that amount will increase by 140 cedis. For small business owners who depend heavily on water and electricity for their livelihoods, they are already facing a crisis. Genevieve is owner of Jenny's World.
Almost everything we do here, we use light and water, especially pedicure. We use water. We still use light because we have to plug it for the client to relax. You get it. And facials, we also have to on our steamer. We still need light. Drying of nails, we still need light. Everything is light and water.
She explains such an increment will have rippling effects on operational costs, potentially squeezing her profit margins and leading to service price hikes.
It's really going to affect us because even the bills we are paying now, madam, it's not easy. But we are just trying our best. If it's been increased, then we have to also increase our prices. Some of the clients, immediately you change your prices, you don't see them again.
Her customers couldn't agree less.
We don't die because even now, we are paying more. Looking at the expenditure, we incur at the end of the month, the salaries we get, and we know that this is a luxury. For me, it's part of me, so it is going to affect my debt, especially when my salary is not increased.
But Genevieve is not alone. Several other business owners are dreading the proposed utility tariff increments. Here at the Laundry Safari, utility bills are set to see a significant rise.
In a week with electricity, I'm spending about 1,000 cedis in a week. And with water comes monthly. Monthly, averagely, I'm spending about 800, 900 cedis. Yes, so with this increase, then it means it has to increase 14%. Yeah, it's a lot.
This leaves an Adjoa at a crossroad. Either absorb the costs or pass it on to her customers. But considering the cost of rent and other materials, the latter seems a better option.
I would have to increase my prices as well, in as much as I don't want to lose my customers, because if you increase the price and someone is not increasing, this shifts to the person. So I need my clients, I need my customers, but then to keep me in business, I would have to increase it a little bit. Yeah.
Clearly, increased utility costs will only compound problems for businesses which are already struggling to stay afloat.
it will really affect the business, because before Crown, the customers are complaining about the prices, and because of the government is increasing, we also have to increase the price. This is where we get our income and sources to it. If the government increase the water bill and the electricity bill, we may lose a lot of clients, the customers, and we don't want that too.
The Public Utility Regulatory Commission, however, explains that the upward adjustment of tariffs could have been more if not for the current economic difficulties. Small businesses are calling on government to consider their concerns and find alternative solutions to address the challenges facing the utility sector. Judith Brown, TV3 News.
Well, meanwhile, a few minutes ago, that's GUTA, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, who are key stakeholders when it comes to the economy, have also released a statement on the back of the increase in utility tariffs that were announced over the weekend. And a few minutes ago, we also indicated that it was a necessary IMF conditionality. And even if you put that aside, let's go to the specifics of their statement, where, for instance, they are asking that there are clear challenges with the management of wastage in the system in terms of water and electricity, which every well-meaning Ghanaian will attest to, and have given some recommendations, asking, for instance, that there is also the issue of illegal connections and the failure by the utility service providers to tackle these criminal acts with the seriousness it deserves to deter such offenders, failure by the PURC to effectively monitor, evaluate and scrutinize the operations and management of utility service providers to ensure value for money and protect public purse against corruption and other related issues, means of siphoning of waste funds into individual private pockets. They say they totally disagree with what the PURC has come up in a justification of why utility tariffs have gone up. In conclusion, they say it appears the public sector is now being turned into a gold mine where every public and or civil servant takes advantage of to enrich him or herself within a short period of time. This does not augur well for this country and must cease immediately if we really want to develop economically. So that's a statement coming from the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA.
Let's now go to the Ashanti region, and tensions are escalating in the region as supporters of aspiring metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives threaten violence if their preferred candidates are overlooked. The situation has already turned volatile, with reports of vandalism targeting party offices in Kumewu and Asante Mampong following disputes over nominations. The Ashanti Regional Minister, Dr. Frank Amwakwehene, has issued a strong warning to individuals exploiting party affiliations to disrupt peace and destroy public property.
Apart from the Kumasi mayor, the president is here to nominate MMDCs for the remaining 42 assemblies in the Ashanti region. The prolonged delay has left residents frustrated, with many complaining that the absence of appointed leaders is stalling critical development projects in their communities. The uncertainty has also fueled agitation among supporters of some MMDC hopefuls, leading to destruction of party properties. In response, the Ashanti Regional Minister and head of the Regional Security Council, Dr. Frank Amwakwehene, has cautioned the aggrieved factions to wait and respect the nomination of the president.
Any riot whatsoever goes definitely entirely at the president. The president will make the appointments, and we would work with the appointments that the president make. No one will be allowed to force our hands to choose someone else for the president. The president will make the appointment. We are expecting it soon. We only call for calm and call for support for whoever the president names, so that we will be able to, as it were, move the country forward.
He also warned them not to take the laws into their hands.
I have put the security on red alert, and I have told each and everyone, whoever is a party member, that don't go and misbehave and shield or hide behind any party colors. And I've also picked information that others are mobilizing to support aggrieved candidates. Some people want to cry more than they believed, and just clad themselves in party paraphernalia and go out there and misbehave as though they are aggrieved party supporters who are misbehaving. Crime knows no color. If you want to take the laws into your own hands, you make sure that we crack the whip and make sure that we prosecute him. So that should be a benchmark for anyone who has in mind that when the names come, they would want to go out there and then misbehave. That when you are found at the wrong side of the law, definitely don't come to our offices begging. Because if you do that, you are disgracing the president, you are disgracing the party, and you are disgracing Madagana and our democracy. And we are not going to be tolerant when it comes to these issues.
In more news tonight, the quality of sanitation service delivery has come under intense scrutiny following visits by Parliament's Committee on Sanitation and Water Resources to various municipal assemblies in the Greater Accra region. The committee expressed dissatisfaction with the performance of service providers responsible for waste management services under the Sanitation Improvement Package.
Second day of the tour, the committee visited Ablekuma West, Ablekuma North, and Wejabaru municipal assemblies to assess sanitation conditions on the ground. Members expressed dissatisfaction. Honorable Kweku Amprachum Sapon, a member of the committee, and MP for Mampong, questioned the value for money in the Sanitation Improvement Package contract and called for a comprehensive review of Zoom Lion's operations.
It is something, every assembly that you go, they appear to have issues of Zoom Lion. Non-performance, underperformance, put together. And it looks like it is not a yesterday's matter only. It's been something that has been going on over the years. But like I said earlier on, this is a year and this is a period of resetting. On sanitation, I think there's going to be a positive resetting.
The committee's chairman, in response to the findings, assured that the issues raised would be addressed after thorough analysis.
He's going to do everything possible. I've been having discussions with our leadership of Parliament this morning about the happening. Most of them got in touch with me. There are several other stakeholders who called yesterday, and you can see that Ghanaians, a majority of stakeholders, leadership, have interest in this issue. So we are going to take it up very soon. The committee is going to liaise with leadership and ensure that after presenting our report, I told you yesterday that it's going to be a nationwide exercise.
The committee also said alternatives should be created to bring competition in the sanitation services provided by Zoom Lion.
There appears to be no competitor. Contract signed has always been with Zoom Lion, and he has no challenger. I believe that if the sector is open up, the sanitation sector and the business relationship between government and we have other players coming on board, I bet we will see some improvement.
The municipal assemblies called for inclusion in the SIP contract process. The tour continues in other parts of the region as the committee intensifies efforts to ensure accountability and improve sanitation services across Ghana.
So watching News 360 on TV3, stay with us. When we return, we'll have the latest in the world of business.
I love President Charcoal. Why? When there's so many other chocolate toothpaste. There's both charcoal and lemon. Oh, does it? Yes. Look right here.
Yes. Pepsodent Charcoal has two of nature's powerful whitening ingredients. With the power of activated charcoal and lemon essence, it removes stains and whitens teeth naturally.
Convinced?
Well, I am. Just look at your beautiful Pepsodent smiles.
For naturally whiter teeth, Pepsodent Charcoal.
Why are more and more professionals choosing Flamingo Paint?
Flamingo Paint has great hiding ability to cover and transform old walls easily with just one coat.
With just small paints, I think huge area, meaning more profit for me. Great value for money.
Guarantees durability for all my buildings.
Flamingo Paint, superior hiding, superior coverage, superior durability. Flamingo Paint, simply superior.
Darling natural twists blend with her hair over time.
Yeah, that's perfect.
She's really more beautiful every week.
Darling Natural Twists get better every day, just like you.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson,
Me didn't tum. Mr. Friend, Calico, just call me cockroach. Now, Mr. Friend, me once now.
Hey, that's you. Improve car. Yeah. Captain, mosquito, double the accent.
Me didn't so spray. Mr. Friend is so cool. Yeah, cool to my Asiedu.
Come tum preko.
Get ready for MTN Stands in Worship 2025. It's bigger and better this year. You don't want to miss great performances from great artists like Nasi, Empress Gifty, Tego Sisters, Moses Oke, Hannah Mafo, Bethel Revival Choir, MTN Viva Voices, and a host of other spirit-filled artists. Join us on Easter Sunday, the 20th of April at the Grand Arena at 6 p.m. for an unforgettable night of heavenly worship. Gospel legends and fresh voices will take you on a musical journey through the decades, blending classic hits with modern favorites. Dress up and show up in your all-white attire and be prepared for a heavenly night. Let's come together to celebrate God's goodness at MTN Stands in Worship 2025. It will be a heaven on earth experience. This event is strictly by invitation.
The business segment is brought to you by MTN.
Welcome back to News 360. Let's do business now with Michael. Clearly, the conversation still is around the IMF.
Yes, and industry folks are basically asking government to ensure that it continues with the discipline that has brought us this far.
Yeah, all right. Let's hear from them.
All right, the details now. Good evening. Welcome to the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obudu. Now, following the government's achievement of a staff-level agreement with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, a financial economist has emphasized the crucial need for fiscal discipline and adherence to the IMF's extended credit facility under the bailout program to ensure smoother future reviews. Dr. Eric Boache-Yadom, reacting to the recent agreement, stressed that strict adherence to the program's conditionalities is paramount for achieving economic stability and bolstering investor confidence.
The financial economist cautioned that while securing the staff-level agreement is a positive step, government must now prioritize fiscal responsibility to facilitate easier and more successful subsequent reviews under the IMF program.
It will release roughly around $370 million. Although not so much, but at this critical moment, every dollar matters, and I think it will go a long way to solidify the relative city stability that we have enjoyed in the first quarter of the year.
The IMF staff-level agreement, however, comes after some fiscal slippages towards the end of 2024. What is refreshing is that government has been able to continue with arrangements made by the previous governments with the IMF. This is a good sign for the international business community.
We missed some target in the ECF, although the staff-level report shows that growth far exceeded what was planned and our international reserve was strong in last year. But government need to ensure that the fiscal commitment and the pledges that have been made are achieved, so that subsequent approval will not be hindered. Achievement of the target under the ECF send a strong message to the international market, and our bondholders, our OCC creditors are also looking on, asking how we will perform under the ECF.
During the mission to Ghana last week, the IMF staff engaged with authorities on the Comprehensive Structural Reform Program with a focus on enhancing governance and transparency and strengthening the management of state-owned enterprises in the gold and energy sectors.
Now, the Ghana Revenue Authority is targeting a significant increase in tax revenue, aiming to reach 360 billion cedis by 2028. This target represents a 64% jump from the 2025 target of 220 billion cedis.
To achieve this ambitious goal, the Ghana Revenue Authority plans to intensify tax education efforts to boost compliance. Speaking at the sidelines of the GRA Workers Union 11th National Executive Council meeting, Acting Commissioner General Anthony Kwesi Sapon noted that the increased revenue target will help finance government's economic research agenda, particularly in infrastructure development, amidst dwindled external funding sources.
This year, we have set ourselves to raise 220 billion. But if this must be sustained, we must also look into the future. So we've also tasked ourselves to say, raising 360 billion by 2028. How do we do this? In Ghana, we must all, first of all, know that if we collectively comply with our basic tax laws, we can raise the revenue.
The chairman of the GRA Workers Union, Theophilus Kwesi Ehun, is urging government to invest in tax infrastructure to enhance officers' capacity to collect taxes efficiently and effectively.
As a country, we make promises based on road and then hospitals and schools. But one of the critical infrastructure which we don't talk about is tax infrastructure. And what do we mean by tax infrastructure? Giving the GRA the good working environment, giving us the tools needed to work, the vehicles, the computers, giving us the IT that we need to work. When all these things are in place, then we are building what we call the tax infrastructure.
The Ministry of Energy and Green Transition says the country remains open for business in the oil and gas sector as it seeks to attract new investment into its offshore and onshore basins. This comes amid the exit of some oil companies from Ghana's upstream petroleum sector in recent years.
Once seen as a prime destination for petroleum exploration, Ghana is facing mounting challenges. These include declining crude oil production, stalled exploration activity, and the lack of new signed agreements since 2017. Despite this, the Energy Ministry is optimistic. At an investor briefing hosted by the African Energy Chamber, officials emphasized Ghana's continued potential and commitment to creating an investor-friendly environment.
To the investors gathered here and beyond, Ghana is open for business. There are vast unlicensed acreages in Ghana's offshore and onshore sedimentary basins available for licensing through direct negotiations. Opportunities also exist for data acquisition in the sedimentary basins to complement existing data sources.
The ministry also reiterated efforts to put in place critical infrastructure for the successful rollout of the long-anticipated petroleum hub while giving investors tax incentives.
To further provide a seamless process for the execution of this project, a Petroleum Hub Development Corporation has been established to liaise with the regulatory institutions to obtain the necessary permits for investors, and those in the free zones area will be entitled to import duty waivers.
Now, C4C Group, a health and wellness center, has unveiled Livotone, a liver support medicine, marking a significant milestone in the country's alternative healthcare system. Speaking at the ceremony, President of C4C Group of Companies, Dr. Michael Tremating, described the move as a stepping stone to the development of homeopathic solutions in modern healthcare delivery.
The launch of this first over-the-counter homeopathic medicine marks a new chapter in the national healthcare narrative. The product, reviewed and approved by the Food and Drugs Authority, FDA, offers Ghanaians a safe and effective treatment option that complements both homeopathy and herbal medicines. Now, according to Dr. Michael Tremating, 70% of Ghanaians now rely on traditional medicine, with homeopathy taking a central role in this shift. The new venture is expected to create significant employment opportunities for over 1 million Ghanaian youth. Dr. Tremating says Ghanaians will be able to access homeopathic medicine with the same ease across the country.
Before today, could not or cannot access homeopathic drugs in majority or in many of the leading pharmacies in Ghana. But we have made a history today that after today, you can contact some of the major pharmacies and you'll be able to access this India-based, European-based natural product to be able to ensure that healthcare delivery goes on well and to the betterment of our healthcare system.
He indicates that the initiative will not only enhance healthcare delivery, but also position Ghana as a leader in homeopathic medicine in Africa.
We have introduced the first of its kind, the liver support medication, to be able to support our liver as we consume our alcohol, as we consume our caffeines, as we eat and whatever. The liver plays a vital role in putting all these things together to be able to have the strength that we need. So that is what motivated the C4C Liver Specialist Hospital to first focus and launch the liver product out first.
Clinics, hospitals and pharmacies are encouraged to contact C4C Homeopathic Pharmaceuticals for wholesale and retail partnerships.
Before we leave you, let's now bring you updates from the currency and the commodities market. And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Up next, the sports.
Every day, people have money emergencies. Ma, I need my school fees emergency. Mommy, chop money emergency. Emergency. Catch it. And your rent emergency. Now, there's a new emergency number in town. Dial *770# for all your money emergencies and chop.
Dial *770# for money emergencies and get easy and quick access to your money, loans, and other banking needs. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Michelle, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Sankofa.
Yenchi. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Why? The sun come out to play.
It's bright like you.
Why? Do I want to play all day?
You are growing.
Why? Do I like to hold you closer very near? Why? Do we always choose self-care?
Because you get to sleep soundly.
Soft Care Baby Diapers uses liquid lock technology that absorbs water and holds it at the bottom, offering your baby long-lasting dryness.
Do we always choose self-care?
Soft Care.
Very soft.
If you want to become something, become a child again. Why be a patient? If you must worry, then worry about winning. Why worry about germs? When you come home, bring tales and stories. Why bring in germs?
Shield your families from germs. When Dettol is a part of every household bucket, then you and your family can stay protected from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Everyday use of Dettol keeps my loved ones protected.
This advert is FDA approved.
Segment is brought to you by
Sasso Insecticide Spray and Coil.
It's now time for sports news, and the real Chris already here. What's the latest with the under-20 team?
Well, they're still preparing for the tournament in Egypt, and we caught up today with the head coach, and so we'll be hearing what he has to say. Vim. And so we head straight to the camp of the under-20, where their head coach Desmond Afey has admitted that the change of venue for the tournament won't affect the team's chances. The tournament was initially scheduled to take place in Ivory Coast, but due to unforeseen circumstances, it has now been moved to Egypt. Speaking exclusively with 3 Sports in an interview, the 37-year-old emphasized that playing in North
most disappointing part will be the fact that it will not be that easy for our fans to join us in numbers, because obviously in Ivory Coast you can just take a bus and drive or fly, very short. In terms of visa, it's not an issue. Now in Egypt it's going to be quite difficult, costly. So I think that is a bit disappointing, but on the other hand I feel like nothing changes. In my honest opinion, we are equally hungry. In terms of the groups as well, obviously the draw has been were redone a couple of days ago. Nothing changed so much in our group. Only Senegal joined us in a group. Obviously Senegal is in a group with us. You got Central Republic of Africa and then DR Congo. So nothing changed basically, but we were prepared. We were prepared for the worst, and we are still going to prepare for the worst. And trust me, we are very hungry, and we understand what this might mean to the nation.
Let's now do women's football, where the zonal level of the Ghana Women's Premier League came to an end last weekend with Ampem Dakwan Ladies winning the Southern Zone and Police Ladies dethroning Hazakas Ladies, the champion of champions, for the first time since 2017, where we played without Hazakas Ladies in a later-to-be-decided date. Here's a wrap of the 2024-2025 Ghana Premier League season for the women's division, put together by my colleague Akosieje.
In a dramatic turn of events, the 2024-2025 Ghana Women's Premier League came to an end, and Police Ladies happened to win the Southern Zone. Historic for the club and historic for the zone as well, because for the first time since 2017, Hazakas Ladies will not be in the champion of champions. That means that for the very first time as well, we will not see neither coach Joe Adakwa or Yusuf Basigi in the champion of champions, because Yusuf Basigi currently coaches Simba Queens in Tanzania, while Joe Nana Adakwa also left his post at Ampem Dakwa Ladies. We also have to note that Hazakas Ladies goalkeeper Grace Banwa kept 13 clean sheets. Irrespective of that, it was not enough to get her team to lift the trophy. As I said, in a dramatic fashion, because Hazakas Ladies lost their throne by just 3 goals, that Police Ladies were able to score more. At the end of the season, Police Ladies were able to win 11 games. They lost 1 game and drew 6. That was the same statistics Hazakas Ladies also had, and so they won the trophy in the Southern Zone with just 3 goals. We also have to note that in the top scorers chart, we had Mary Amponsa, who have now moved from Ampem Dakwa Ladies to China, while Stella Nyameche, who was the then captain of Dreams Ladies, also in the top 5, having to move from the Ghana Women's Premier League to Gotham FC in the NWSL in the United States of America. So when the day of the champion of champions is set, for the first time since 2017, we will not be seeing Hazakas Ladies in the finals. But just maybe Ampem Dakwa will be the team to once again take Ghana to Wafu.
Let's do some more here, where 8 regional football associations have received brand new Nissan Navara pickup trucks from the Ghana Football Association under the FIFA Forward program. The initiative is part of efforts to strengthen grassroots football development across the country. The regions benefiting from this phase are Brongahafo, Upper West, Central, Western, Eastern, Upper East, Volta, and Ashanti. Each region received a double cabin pickup to support administrative and operational activities. Just by way of update, there is UEFA Champions League action currently ongoing. The second leg of the quarterfinals, and it's currently 2-1 in favor of Paris Saint-Germain, which means that they lead 5-2 on aggregate. Lots of work to do in the second half for Unai Emery's men. Dortmund also similarly have majority of the work to do in the second half. 1-0 on the night, but trailing by 4-1 on aggregate. You can get updates of these games on our social media handles at 3SportsGH. My name is Ore Kwampofo. Up next on the bulletin is entertainment with Anita Kufu.
Welcome to the entertainment news segment. My name is Anita Ekufu. And in entertainment this evening, Revel Studios is set to captivate movie enthusiasts with their latest cinematic masterpiece, A Letter to God. The much-anticipated film, A Letter to God, featuring a stellar cast of talented Ghanaian actors, is set to premiere this Friday at the Silverbird Cinemas in both Accra Mall and the West Hills Mall.
Stands the will of God. We can only trust in His plan.
Tagged as the official Easter movie, A Letter to God is a powerful faith-based drama that will strengthen your belief and renew your trust in God. The captivating story centers around Daniel, a 22-year-old recent graduate who returns to Ghana from England only to uncover a painful family secret: his father's infidelity.
Who are these people, and why have they barged in here so rudely?
Won't you tell them who you are? I am his mistress.
The revelation tears Daniel's family apart, leaving him heartbroken and struggling to reconcile his Christian values with the harsh reality of his father's actions. Produced by Revel Studios, A Letter to God features a stellar cast of acclaimed Ghanaian actors including Aaron Adachi, Akofa Ejeni, Gloria Safo, and many more. Ahead of the big premiere this Friday, Revel Studios held an exclusive screening for key industry players, giving them a first look at the inspiring film.
You know, we want to send out a message that to have faith is not always easy. In fact, it takes a lot to believe in God, keep praying and believing to the point that you see the finished product. So the message I want to put out there is to encourage people in their faith. We want to encourage them not to give up. We want to encourage them that indeed God still answers prayers.
Members of the cast and crew have been sharing their excitement.
It's really exciting and fulfilling. I mean, this is just the executive premiere, but look at the people that are here. And almost everybody is happy and excited and thrilled about the storyline and how we were able to execute this. So I'm super excited, and I'm even more excited about the fact that Ghanaians are gradually accepting us, our stories, our movies, our films.
A Letter to God is set to premiere this Friday at Silverbird Cinemas in both the Accra Mall and West Hills Mall.
Professional triumphs? That is when you decided to sleep with her. I slept with her. It's not something.
And that's it for the entertainment news segment. My name is Anita Ekufu. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much, Anita. Coming up, international news.
Hamas is said to have rejected an Israeli proposal for a 6-week ceasefire in Gaza, which called for the armed group to give up its weapons. A senior Palestinian official familiar with the talks said the plan gave no commitment to end the war or for an Israeli troop pullout, key Hamas demands, in exchange for releasing half of the living hostages which it holds. It comes as Israel continues its military offensive in Gaza. A security guard was killed and 9 other people were injured in an airstrike on a field hospital in Khan Yunis, the hospital said. The Israel Defense Force IDF said it struck the head of the Hamas cell. A UN agency meanwhile warned that the humanitarian situation in Gaza is now likely the worst it has been in the 18 months since the outbreak of hostilities. It's a 6 weeks since Israel allowed any supplies to enter through crossings into the Palestinian territory, by far the longest stoppage to date.
And that's how we bring the bulletin to an end. Thank you so much for watching. I am Martin Asiedu. But remember that at 9 p.m. there will be Agenda.
And I am Portia. Gabor. Do join Alfredo Cancer at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight. Good evening.